Yeah, I think so. I
So
think that's
YouTube makes it
good.
much easier. So go ahead.
Okay, so right last week we had a great testimonial night. Karen was on there with her cancer testimony, and then we had Lisa's MS testimony. And I believe that has been forwarded on. If you haven't gotten it, I will be forwarding it. Um, anyhow, so, we're always looking for testimonies, and we'd like for you to bring your people on so that they can hear these things, because it's how we learn. I mean, I learned so much in the very beginning, listening to other people's testimonies, and they make some comment, and I'd say, oh, well, golly, I guess I need to be using that too. So, and eventually I was using the shelf. So anyhow, to start with tonight, we're going to have Linda Courtney. How long you guys been in the group? You have to unmute yourself.
There we are. 2009 is when we joined as a gold pack member distributor.
Yeah. Okay. And I believe Linda got a newsletter from me that had a little story. Actually, it was PJ's story that was on there about Vivix and cataracts, I believe.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what Linda saw. And well, anyhow, long story short, either she called me, I believe you called me, didn't you, Linda, and asked me about that, and we talked. Well, then, probably not long after that, I mean, she got some good results and such and she'll tell you about that. But Jay was walking, he stopped at my office to get some product. And he was walking out, and he was just at the corner of my office. And, he looked at me and he says, can you make any money at this? And he was going like this. And, I'll never forget that. I don't know whether he's forgotten it. But, we always listen to what other people are saying, so we know where to go and what to do. So anyhow, Linda, it's the stage is yours now. You can go ahead and tell your story. And then if you'd like, you can introduce Renee.
Okie doke. Can everybody hear me all right? Okay. I wrote down my story so that I wouldn't be looking at the screen at you guys. So I'm going to cover you all up right now. But I just want to thank you for listening to me. And I kind of want to take it where Marion left off. I didn't start having problems when I first met Marion. I started having problems at about age 6, but I'm not going to go there with you. I just want to share some very general principles that apply to us all. And I'm going to just jump right in with it. Much of this will be not so much on the products that I use, but on what we know already, what we do when disaster strikes, and what I've learned. And hopefully you can pick some nuggets yourself. So, what we know. First, we all know Shaklee is the bomb. And if you're here, it's because it's helped you, or you're hoping it will. My health challenges have been significant and lifelong. And right now, as an adult, I've been dealing with Crohn's disease, which is an autoimmune disease that damages the digestive tract. Here's the second thing we know. Sometimes life happens when you were planning something else. And sometimes it's disaster. And then what? Marion told you about one disaster in my life that Shaklee really helped to solve, because I did read PJ's story about cataracts, and it was kind of a miraculous juxtaposition of timing. My latest disaster hit in May of this year. at the beginning of the month, I couldn't shake recurring fevers and body aches and weakness. And I had a series of awful tests that revealed an abscess in my small intestine, which is just before my ileum. I've always had trouble there, which led to an inability to absorb some of the vitamins like B's and D's and omega-3s, which is a big problem in itself. I remember the first time Dr. Jamie told me, you need to be taking omega-3s. I said, okay, how many? She said, 9 omega guards a day. And I just about flipped out. I thought, I cannot digest one. So back to this original disaster this year. The doctor started me on a course of 2 really terrible antibiotics with a whole lot of side effects. And by month's end, the fevers were gone. Unfortunately, the abscess had left a walled-off fistula. If you don't know what a fistula is, that's okay, because it's really, really bad news. Fistulas are holes in the intestinal wall, and some tunnel into other organs, and some tunnel out to the skin, in which case you've just effectively given yourself a colostomy, and they attach a bag from then on. Here's the good news for me. This hole had attached to an adjoining intestinal loop, kind of like this, if you can imagine 2 loops that touch each other because they're all scrunched together. And imagine my ileum right here, and it bypassed the ileum, and it made sort of, I think of it as a frontage road. Yeah. The doctor immediately prescribed starting 2 biologics. One was a monthly infusion to override my immune system because they say it's an autoimmune problem, plus a monthly pill to kill off the antibodies that my body would produce against the infusion. I'd be on these for the foreseeable future, which wasn't looking too bright. And looking at the side effects of the infusion, these 2 biologics together, it wasn't looking too long either. So I asked what my alternatives were, and he said, well, we're probably looking at surgery anyway. So I said, okay, can I show you studies of a product that regulates your body's own interferon for a healthy immune system? And his reply was, I can tell you right now what I'm going to say. My heart just sank to my feet. And I knew at that moment that we had crossed a line. He's very good at what he does, and what he does, I was not willing to do. My immediate thought was, oh boy, I am on my own here. Actually, it was a little more colorful than that. So that was my disaster. And here's the question, what do we do when disaster strikes? Well, the first thing we do is we take responsibility. You have to be your own best educator, your own best investigator, your own best advocate. And you have to keep doing what you already know to be the best that you can do. The second thing I did was to call in the cavalry. And here's what that involved. I already had Jay's full support, and we thought through things together, and he's been with me the whole way. And he can tell you, I thought through things a whole lot. And then I thought through them again a whole lot. And then I cried some, and then I thought through them again, but he was there for me. The second thing I did, I asked the church elders, one of whom is our son, to come and pray over me. And I will just say, if you don't know what strength and direction that pumps into your life and situation, you really can't, it's hard to describe or even to imagine. Life again became an open road with purpose and with renewed hope. I felt like I was now part of a team. I asked my friends to pray, and some of them still are. I go to church on Sunday, and I have a friend, Dave, who is this big old DEA guy, and he comes up to me a lot of Sundays and says, "I just prayed for you, Linda." And I just, that does something physical to you that that is just unexplainable. I really love my people. Of course, the other thing I did, speaking of my people, I called Marion, and she urged me to consult with Martha Wilmore. Martha was an invaluable and incalculable help. She helped me to make a list of all the supplements I should be taking and copious amounts that I should take daily. And she reminded me to allow 3 months for any nutritional healing to take place. And then add another month for every year that you've been sick. Okay, I've had Crohn since 1993. You can do the math. I figured it might take me into the next millennium to get better. So it's a good thing we have Vivix to help us age in reverse, I figured. With Martha's help, I set up a daily plan because, you know, fail to plan and you plan to fail. And I checked off every day's progress. What did I learn? I learned a whole lot. But here are some nuggets that might just resonate with you. First, start at the beginning. Start with the one who created you. We're all similar, but we're all different. And he knows that, and he sees us, and he knows every one of us. Secondly, for me, it's not so much food sensitivities that harm my gut these days, it's stress. Years ago, when I first started Shaklee, I had tested positive for 36 food allergies out of 92. So you can see I've been making a lot of headway, but life has a way of, dishing it out too. So I'm working on the stress. I don't borrow trouble. I find more ways to laugh. I relax, and I'm accepting my limitations and other people's limitations more than I did. I've got a long way to go, but there you are. Third, I learned you can heal, even after a very long time. I'm now able to digest those omega-3s I so desperately needed. It happened slowly, but it happened. Fourth, and don't forget this. If you have to, write it down. That new Optiflora DI, I swear, is magic. The little pearls that we've always had were guaranteed to go past the stomach acid. Well, they just always went right past my entire system, since my intestinal transit time is about like the Indy 500, just shunk. So the DI, for some reason, hit that sweet spot for me, and it began to heal the small intestine. I took 3 a day, 1 with each meal. I've had some people say, "Oh, no, you should take it in the morning," or, "Oh, no, you should take it last thing at night," so that I take 3 with each meal. That's what works, because I can remember 1 with each meal. I can remember 3 times a day, 1 with each meal. That's good for me. Which brings me to this. I have become my very best customer, and I think I probably always will be. That's good. It's great for my PV, and it's great for my lifespan. When you're in trouble, ask for help. We don't have to do this alone. There are really wonderful people who want to team up with you, and that is like really basic in Shaklee. Okay, one other thing. I already knew this, but reminders are good. This Shaklee stuff really, truly works. So those are just a few bullet points of things that I've learned, and I hope that they help you too. So where are we now? I was in bed all through May. I gave myself the month of June to recover from the fevers and the cure. I napped a lot. I slowly built up my foods and supplements. I couldn't start it all at once. I babied myself and I said no when I was out of steam, which was often. June stretched into July and I needed all of July too. And the annual Shackley Convention in August was really my first outing. And I did just fine. Now it's 7 months later. I'm healthier than I was before the crisis in May. Many days I'm very nearly normal, although my kids won't probably say so, so don't bother asking them. My gastroenterologist is even sort of on board. At my 6-month checkup, he confessed, I really thought you'd need surgery by now. And we had a good heart-to-heart, and I found out that his great fear was that I would fall apart physically, end up in the ER, and the attending doctor would say, who took care of you? And of course, that's where we all are. We just want to look good. And I really appreciate his candor. In the course of that heart-to-heart conversation, I said, well, let me ask you this. Do fistulas ever close? Oh, no. Not usually, was his answer. And it was sad, and he just shook his head. And I looked at him, I said, so you're saying there's hope? What could he do? He just laughed and he said, just keep doing what you're doing. I'm sure you guys have heard that from your doctors too. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it, and I'll just throw it up to any questions. Oh, and I'm sorry, I'm so white. I don't know how I got so white, but here I am.
It's okay if you're white.
Linda,
Give us a little, I mean, like your supplements, what you take, how you take, I mean, how many you take.
I knew you were going to ask that. I take a gazillion, Marion.
Okay.
I have a list here. I'd be glad to run it down. That's the other thing. My memory was really affected. And so I took copious notes, and I would make 3 little checks every day that I took the 3 things. I lined them all up. I have a tackle box. And would you like for me to run through what it is I do daily?
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, would everybody like to hear that? I think it'd be great. I think it'd be great for the recording too.
Okay, well, this was a combination of Martha's suggestions, probably your suggestions, Marion, and what I was already doing. And as I said, I worked up to this slowly, and I backed off on a little bit. Vivix, she said, take 2 tablespoons a day. I find if you mix it with water, a tablespoon at a time, it tastes like grape juice. It's really good. She said, take 2 tablespoons of coconut oil, put it in your mouth and swish it around just like the Vivix. And I think I did read from Dr. Cheney. He said, oh, coconut oil, there's a lot of hype about that. Doesn't really do anything for you unless you have gut issues. And I thought, oh, okay. So that was kind of a confirmation. 15 alfalfa. Now, these are broken into 3 meals, so it would be like 5 at each meal. 9 B complex, because I have a hard time absorbing them. 6 Vita C, 1 Carotamax, 10 Vita Ds. I tested really deficient in vitamin D. 2 years ago. And then I came up to 46 if you're into those numbers, which is still nothing to write home about, but it was twice as much as I had before. 6 Easy Jest, 2 a meal. I'm down to 9 GLA. I was taking 12, she said. 2 immunity formulas, 1 mental acuity. I was taking 3 of those because I really, really needed it. 2 MindWorks, 6 Nutriferins, 12 Omega Guards, which started out to be none. But I thought about halfway through, I thought, I wonder if I could take one of these. And yes, I can. 3 Optiflora DIs, 5 Osteomatrix, which I had taken before because of bone issues, and 6 Vitally Golds with K. At bed, I take 2 Vital Mags, and 2 of those Osteomatrix are also at bedtime, and that's to help me sleep, and 2 Recovers, and I find my sleep is much better. Sounds like a lot, and it is, but I just load up those little puppies every day, every morning, and I have 3 custard cups, and I have 3 square meals because that's important. I had lost 15 to 18 pounds in May, and I have gained back, 5 maybe, and I feel good. Anything else?
That's great. Yes, Nina.
Sorry.
Major.
Unmute there.
Nina.
I found it very interesting. Somebody's got to mute. We got too many. I'm going to do you, Marion. I found it very interesting when you said the difference that the DI made for you versus a regular Optiflora.
Yeah.
So do you still do the beads or not?
I never could digest them. Without getting graphic, I knew they weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I tried them occasionally, and it was money wasted, which also made me go from Vitalizer to my own concoction.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm wondering, I have a client that has a colostomy.
Oh.
So he has no large intestine, but you said it helped you heal your small.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's still sick all the time,
Mm-hmm.
and he cannot take omega. He
Right.
takes the strip, but he can't take omega because they've changed the, whatever you call the bags, the colostomy bags.
Yeah.
That if they take anybody that takes omega that uses those bags, they have such a horrendous smell that they said people can't stand to be around them. And I'm like, that's not fair of that company, because omega helps people that have that.
Yeah. Huh.
I'm just wondering if you did the regular omega and did mega dose for a while, if that would make a difference or not.
You mean the Optiflora?
Well, Optiflora also, but the omega thing is, because I know that's huge for anything that's an autoimmune.
Well,
Anything
I
that's
have
inflammation.
okay, here's another thing that might help. One of the things that Martha said was to take, 12 GLA. I told her I can't take Omega Guard. Well, I said, okay, aren't you supposed to have that in balance, like 2 O3s to 1 O6?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody know what I'm talking about? Yes or no? Okay. And she said, yes, that's true. But for a time, go with the GLA, because the GLA is so anti-inflammatory. And she said it's like nature. She called it nature's steroid. And so that's when I was doing really well on the GLA. That's what gave me the confidence to think, oh, okay, I'll throw an Omega Guard in there and see if I don't fall over dead.
Awesome. Awesome. So, wow, as a result of all of those supplements, you need to be able to share with people so you can pay for them.
That's right.
Linda, I have a question.
Yeah.
Did you have to make any diet changes? Because I have heard that dairy products aggravate Crohn's. What do you know about that? And have you tried that or other dietary changes?
I was being very healthy anyway. I don't drink milk. I love cheese and butter and lots of butter. And that was probably because I needed the oils. I never tested allergic or sensitive to dairy products or wheat products. Oddly, I tested sensitive to soy years and years ago. That doesn't stop me from taking a little bit of soy. Nothing. Right now, I think I'm even starting to eat pecans. I'm very excited about that. But I don't know. I'm trying to think, Jay, if there's anything we don't do. I'm easy. I go easy on the red meat and potatoes for sure. Although red meat agrees with me. I can't think of
Are you a type O, Linda?
You know what? I don't even know.
Okay. Because, like so many times type O's, I mean, meat's our thing. I'm a type O.
Jay is.
Oh, okay. Well, then he understands all of that.
Yeah, and I feed him, so I might as well be.
Do you use the Recover complex?
Yes, I take 2 of those every night.
Okay. Because that's really good for inflammation also. So.
Yeah, I just take it because they said it'll work. I haven't really seen, I'm taking so much stuff, it's hard to know what's good and what's, just going in and being itself.
Dr. Browse had told me to do 3 in the afternoon and 3 at night. I don't do that much. I do 3 at night. So anyhow, that's what I do. Okay, any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question.
Yes, Rosemary.
Does Martha Wilmore give a supplement recommendation for inflammation? Does she? And how do you get on her newsletter?
I called her and made a consultation appointment. So I don't get her newsletter. Marion, do you know about that, or Nina?
No, I don't get, you're talking about Martha's newsletter. I don't get that either. I don't even know if I've got all of her CDs and everything from every time that she's ever been here. That's where I get my stuff from for the most part.
Okay, maybe you guys were talking about her CDs and stuff. I thought she had a newsletter.
No, not that I know of. And now she might. I'm sorry, Nina, go ahead.
In the very beginning, Linda was talking about the newsletters that we were putting out. Yeah. And that's what she was
saying. Okay. Because last week we were talking about the regimen that you got from her for the UTI. And I thought that was a newsletter. The UTI with blood in it and the things that she told you to take.
Who is that now?
I thought Marion had told us last week about having a UTI with blood and the supplements to take.
That was Martha, and she told about that at the last seminar we had with her.
Oh, I thought it was a newsletter. Okay.
And it was my story, though. Yeah. When I got into Shackley, I had every month I'd end up with a bladder infection. Within an hour, I'd have blood in my urine. And I considered myself healthy because the doctor wasn't worried about it. Why should I be, right? I just had a standing prescription. But as soon as I started supplements and added we all started on the basics, protein, vitamin, and Herblax. I added alfalfa, and that was the end of it.
Now, Linda, when's your next follow-up appointment with your doctor?
I just had one in November, and I'll see him in 6 months. He was going to prescribe another MRI. And I kind of grimaced, and I said, okay, with contrast? He said, yeah, I really need to see it. I said, oh man, that barium is not good for my gut. And he said, well, I really need to see what's going on. And I said, okay, to what end? And you can tell I'm kind of a hard patient. And he said, well, I guess you won't be doing anything about it anyway. And I said, well, probably not. And he said, well, then let's just let it be. I'll see you in 6 months.
Good. I'm glad he's working with you on that, because a lot of people, doctors wouldn't want to do that.
That's what my sister, the public health nurse and nursing instructor, said. She said, you're just lucky he didn't fire you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a nurse too. And
Yeah.
They don't like to deal with patients that want to be non-compliant.
Well, no, nobody wants a black mark on their name. I get that. I told him, I said, I will tell everybody you're a very good doctor. I will even put it on my tombstone. He said, oh, please don't.
Oh, that's
Rosemary, I have a set of the CDs if you're interested in that, but you can email me if you'd like a set of the Martha's CDs from the last conference we had with her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
And we should probably move on. I hate to do this, but I look at the clock and it's like, okay, we're gonna cut Renee out of having any time to speak here. So, and if you want to introduce her, please.
Yes, I should introduce you, right? This is Renee Peters. We met in our church, Narthex. Her son is my pastor. My son is her son's worship leader. And we became fast friends. She lives in Philadelphia, and that's where she is right now. So, Renee, we are so glad to be friends.
Yes, I am glad to be your friend too.
And we are the Intestine Sisters.
Yes, we are. We are. In 2002, I was diagnosed with uterine cancer. Had a complete hysterectomy. And in 1 year, I had a hysterectomy, 6 weeks of radiation every day. And then a few months later, radiation had damaged me to the point I had to have 2 feet of my intestines removed because there wasn't anything left of them. I was literally starving to death. So fast forward to about 2015, I was still recovering, and I met Jay in the Northex, and I found out that he was, oh boy, I lost everybody. Oh gosh, are you there?
No, you're still there, Renee.
Oh gosh, I don't know how to get back to the picture. So
look at the little camera if you want to come back.
I lost. I am so sorry. Well, I'll just talk.
We can see ya.
Okay.
Hear ya.
All right. I asked Jay what he did, and he said Shackley, and our kids grew up on Shackley, and they ate homemade bread, and I was a runner for 25 years, and I was in excellent health, and except for cancer. So Jay and Linda introduced me because my intestines were so bad and I lived with chronic diarrhea. We started with something that I thought I could take, which was Vivix. Only. I just took Vivix, and it worked. It went in, it stayed in, it didn't complicate my system. And about 2 months after taking Vivix, I woke up one morning and I realized that my hands felt very different. And I looked at my hands and I had nodules all in the tendons of my fingers. And the doctor told me that that was a genetic disorder. Well, I don't have those anymore. They just disappeared. They literally just disappeared. And I can move my hands, and it's fabulous. So I love Vivix. Plus, Vivix has just given me more energy, and I take it. But that was just kind of the beginning. I would take vitamins, but like Linda, they would just go through me. So now I can take vitamins. I take 1 or 2 a day, and that's good for me because I don't have 2 feet of my intestines. So I'm really working with a real handicap. But one time, Jay and Linda took me to hear Laura Evans, and I had a very bad digestive day before, and I was looking for tea, and the only thing they had in the back, well, at that time it was called Performance. And I thought, oh no, this stuff I have to mix in water. But anyway, it was all they had, so I mixed it. And when I took that into my body, it was like somebody gave me a shot of adrenaline. All of those hydration that I needed was there. And I now take Hydrate Plus every morning mixed with Citra Boost. It's the first thing I take every day. And it just keeps me hydrated and feeling great. And so those are 2 products. And then I have a great calcium deficiency because I can't do milk, I can't do any gluten, and I can't do fats. So I went to a nutritionist, and she put me on the Energy Soy shake because it's much higher in calcium. So I take that regularly. I take Citra Boost and my vitamins. I have not been able to handle vitamin D yet, and I mean yet. So I've just continued to heal very slowly, and I'm adding other vitamins as I can. I can't tolerate alfalfa. It just rips right through me. So, but you have to understand that people look at me and they say, wow, you look great. Well, I take the protein, I take the vitamins, I take Vivix, and it's just been wonderful for me.
Jay, I think wants you to talk about your face, apparently.
Well, and I just unmuted myself to be able to say, and there is that youth stuff.
Yes, very much so. Oh, which to the point where Ed has said he absolutely does not want me to stop using it. He just thinks it makes a world of difference. It's very funny. It's very funny. But I haven't got him to use it yet. And I, like Linda, am my best customer. I am.
So Renee, when
Yeah.
you started with just Vivix, how much did you take of that a day?
A teaspoon.
Once. And you noticed that big a difference?
That big a difference. I noticed immediately energy change, and I just felt better. And I still have extreme dietary issues just because I don't have part of my body. But I'm certainly much better off than I was.
That's awesome. Can I ask you which 2 feet they took out? Which part of the intestine? Small, large, in the middle?
Small. And they took the ileum.
Oh.
So I've really had to learn how to, how should I say that? Restrain myself and hold my intestines, the waste. It's been quite a journey.
So
the
the ileum, is the ileum the part that connects the small and large?
Mm-hmm. It's got the valve in it
Oh.
that I don't have.
But at least you have a bunch of feet of your small intestine yet that you can absorb nutrition.
Yeah, but no B12s.
Oh, that's
can't.
down on that part.
Yes. So I have to have a B12 shot every month. And I know it when it's at the end of that month.
Wow.
Because I can't sleep real well, and I can't, I'm just exhausted. I mean, it's huge. But I do take B complex. I can tolerate it. But maybe, Linda, what I should do, what you do, I probably don't take enough. But, you know, if you can't absorb something, you can't absorb it. And
Right.
so.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
You know, Renee, I was diagnosed with pernicious anemia many years ago, and which is a B12 deficiency.
Okay.
And you don't absorb the B12. And I have found, actually from my preventative-minded doctor in Atlanta, a B12 that is, I get it over the internet, and it's non-GMO and, you know, all this kind of thing. And you can just use it like on a daily basis, like a third of a dropper. And, you know,
You put it under your tongue?
Yes,
Yeah.
under your tongue. And
Right.
and then you hold it there for about 90 seconds. And then you swish for about at least 30 after the 90, you know, to get the absorption.
Right.
And see, I was not absorbing any Bs either, and my homocysteine was off the wall. I mean, it was like 34, and it's not supposed to be above 12, I think.
Right.
You know, so anyhow, I got to doing some research, and PJ helped me out on this too. We got a different B12 that was good, but I found that the liquid has worked better for me.
Okay.
For whatever it's worth. If you'd like, I can send you the information on that.
Yes, I would love that. Thank you. That'd be
Okay.
great.
Okay.
That would be great.
Renee, are you using the DI probiotic?
How can I answer that? I tried it, but I couldn't tell a significant difference. But I'm thinking after hearing Linda that maybe I'm not using enough of it.
You know, when I started taking Vivix, I couldn't tell any difference, but I know what it does in the body. So I won't quit taking Vivix.
That's
yeah.
right.
You know, and I always say that when it works, what everybody says the way it works, and the science that's there, I'm not going to go without it.
Listen, I have one of my members has migraines, and she went on Vivix, and she noticed a marked difference in her migraines. In number, became less.
Yep.
And so she had to go off of it because of surgery, and she watched her migraines just spike. Then after surgery, she went back on it. Sure enough, her migraines went down. So I said to her, now she takes a teaspoon a day. I said, what would happen to your migraines if you took 2 or 3?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, it's a fabulous
Yeah.
product.
And I know, so we don't always know, but when we know how it's supposed to work, and I'm just going to throw one other thing in and I'm going to shut up. When I hear migraines,
Mm-hmm.
first thing that comes to mind now is MindWorks. Because I've had people who were on Imitrex shots that don't need to do it anymore because of MindWorks.
That's awesome. Thank you.
So Vivix and a MindWorks.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I thought maybe Nina was coming back on. Anyhow, thank you, girls, for those great testimonies. We want to get Jay in here and what he did in the very beginning when they got into Shackley. And he's got a weight loss testimony. So we're going to line him up for whenever he wants to do it. But anyhow, next week, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock, right here, bring your people on because it is so good. And last week I talked about the oh heck, cancer markers. And I do that every year. And, you know, you got to pay for it out of your pocket. You know, if there's anything that's going to be good, normally they make you pay for it. But anyhow, I had one of the cancer markers, and I don't think I finished the story on the last Zoom, but the breast cancer, which is CA15-3, that had elevated on me. And when it elevated, Carol said to me, she says, you got to get this down. I said, well, how do I do that? She says, Vivix. Well, I went on Vivix, and I started taking Vivix 4 times a day. And I had it rechecked in about 4 or 5 months. And it went right back to its normal where it should be. I mean, because it had elevated quite by 20 points or so. And so that's one of the things that Vivix did for me, and that was on that test. And I don't think I finished the story last week. So anyhow.
Marion, can I do my 30-second opportunity?
Yes, you may. We need to always do the opportunity. Go ahead.
I just wanted to share this. This will be the first time that I've done it since I went on my cruise, but we had to write up our stories, and I've never written a story that was so short, so I get to share it tonight. Thank you. Many years ago, I was working 2 jobs, working 70 hours a week, which I think about that today, and it's like, wow. But anyways, my aunt and uncle approached me to get involved in a company that I had never heard of, and I had absolutely no interest because I was working all I could work at the time. But she kept asking me until I said, okay, I'll just listen. And so I sat down and I listened to her. I came to Wisconsin at the time. I wasn't living here. But I am so thankful that she was persistent, because I shudder to think what my life would be like today without shackling my life, for my health as well as my income. I never believed that I would be as successful as I am today. Becoming a single woman in my 50s with absolutely no education. I think of that so often. Where would I be? But being able to make a difference in the lives of everybody that I touch is something that you can never put a price tag on.
Yes.
The cool thing is we get paid for that.
Yes.
I love to travel, and I've traveled around the world with my children and now with my grandchildren. I just got off a cruise, in fact, with my oldest grandson and my oldest daughter. And let me tell you, we built memories. So there are no limits whatsoever. I get to love and inspire people knowing that I am taken care of with my business already. And our concept is to work hard for 4 to 5 years and then nurture it and live the life that you've always dreamed is possible.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's great. Wonderful, Nina. Yay. Yay, Nina.
I learned how to tell my story after 39 years.
Great. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, my first bonus check was $4.50. And it's just a bit more than that today. You know, I mean, they were always 10,000 at least. So, I mean, I never dreamed. That was my goal. My first goal was to make enough money to pay for my products. And that was it.
Yeah.
So anyhow, okay. Thank you all for being.
If I could ever make $50,000 in this business, I would just be floating.
You're doing much better than that though right now.
Well, I know. Now it's like,
what are you at?
I make 85 a year.
What? 85? That's very close to 100.
Yes. Well, and yeah, if I worked out at Kohler Company, I'd have to make 120 because it's spendable income.
Oh, yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I think some of the jobs.
We got to get off from here so we can get on our.
I know we got another Zoom. Okay, you all got the number of Roland's, don't you? Let's see. Where's it?
1 mind work a day for migraines. Okay. All right.
I do too. Okay. Okay. Roland's number is 837-256-5595. And if you want to get on, he's probably waiting on us. Thank you. Thank you guys for 4 minutes. Super.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.